Daniela, Perallon in Northwest Washington, where investigators have arrested a serial arsonist. You can't see it from the road, but about a half-mile behind these trees is the home where Levy County Sheriff's Department found 103 cannabis plants at the end of last month. Governor Rick Scott chose that friendly audience for a budget message that many will question. This is President Obama's longest trip overseas yet. His first stop will be in India, then he'll head to Indonesia, South Korea, and Japan. From first call to first response, it took firefighters 8 minutes to get here. But no matter what type of tree you choose, make sure you get it in water as soon as you get home so it doesn't dry out by Christmas. Energy was high this afternoon in Eustis, a Tea Party haven in Lake County. Governor Rick Scott chose that friendly audience for a budget message that many will question. His 2-year plan would cut $5 billion in state spending and half as much the following year. He also wants to cut $4 billion in business and property taxes. But to many in the crowd, he was singing their song. The weather was dreary, but that didn't stop Tea Party members from packing the parking lot of the First Baptist Church of Eustis. From Gainesville to Titusville, Tea Partiers and some Lake County Democrats filled the church in anticipation of Governor Rick Scott's big budget reveal.
Reviewing a governmental budget is like going through an attic in an old home. You come across some priceless things that you need to protect, but there are a lot of odd things that you wonder about that someone once thought we needed.
Some of those odd items, according to Scott, are government contracts and leases, state employee pension plans, and business taxes. While many at the rally were excited about certain proposals,
the fiscal responsibility, going ahead and stepping up to the plate and being bold enough to make the cuts, to take on the state government.
Others weren't so pleased.
I've worked my entire life, I've seen my savings go down, and I just don't understand what these people don't get. Sometimes I think there's a complete disconnect from reality.
Now that Scott has unveiled his plans, it's up to the legislature to make sure the budget is balanced. Governor Scott insists he'll protect education funding even as he cuts spending, cuts taxes, and devotes $800 million to economic development projects. But some lawmakers are signaling this is not a likely year to cut state taxes, given a projected budget shortfall of nearly $4 billion. Daniela Perallon, WUFT News. Some like their cars new and fast, others like them old and classic, and then some like them ratty. They call them rat rods, an assortment of scrap parts brought together to make a car that stands out from the crowd. For Frank Tyler, it's only natural that he'd spend his days turning one person's trash into his treasure.
I just say it runs in the blood. It's growing up around cars and stuff like this. It's just something to do with your time.
It's a passion he inherited from his mom.
His is the radical rat and mine's the slick rat.
A hairdresser by trade, Teresa Tyler was brought up playing with the boys.
I've always been a tomboy and built like a girl, you know.
While the mother and son duo share the work, Teresa did all the bodywork on her car. When the Tylers first got this car, it was just a regular old green Chrysler. But now, look at it. It's got all sorts of bells and whistles. Or rather, wrenches and ratchets. And skulls and dogs, the car is now lovingly known as Mary Jane. But not for the reasons you'd think.
And some people say, oh, is she a toker? No, I'm not, but I named the car Mary Jane because the original owner used to haul marijuana in it up from Tallahassee down to South Florida.
This family gets a different kind of high.
This is your high here. You get high off stuff like this.
The enthusiasm the Tylers have for their rats is seen and shared by those who pass by. So while others like their cars to shine, the Tylers prefer to put their personalities into the cars.
And we're kind of far out or creepy or whatever you want to call us.
And don't mind them being a little bit ratty. Daniela Perallon, WUFT News. Christ has now thrown his support behind civil unions, adoption by same-sex couples, and doing away with the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. And it's a move that may attract more moderate voters.
I think it's an effort to attract voters who might otherwise support either Kendrick Meek those Democrats who are out there, or those who are perhaps concerned about Marco Rubio being too conservative.
Crist's move is sure to gain heat from his opponents questioning his motivations. But in the end, it's up to voters to decide who they think best represents Floridians. A CNN Time poll released last week shows Crist, who's running as an independent, only 2 percentage points behind Republican nominee Marco Rubio. And Crist polled 10 points ahead of Democrat Kendrick Meek. At least 6% of voters are still undecided. And if the gay community throws support behind Crist, it could be the extra push he needs.
We are a very large community. We're a very productive community. We're a very active community. We're a voting community. We're an educated community. And we will and can make the difference. And I think Charlie Crist knows that.
Daniela Perallon, WUFT News.